Ranking Member Barrasso, thank you. So I'm here to share some comments about Senate Bill 4995, the Continental Divide Trail Completion Act. I want to thank Senator Heinrich for his leadership there. I'm the lead Republican co-sponsor. It's bicameral, bipartisan, that will spur recreation, economic development, and grow jobs in Montana and local gateway communities. The history of the Continental Divide is fascinating, and the early surveyors, they looked at it. But if you start from north to south, we begin in Montana, and then we end up in New Mexico.
I think you have that backwards.
You could, depending on the season, you could start in New Mexico and end in Montana. So it depends on if you're a snowbird or not.
It's all a matter of perspective.
That is very true. But of course, it goes right through Wyoming, north to south, Colorado, and New Mexico. What a great, great part of our country that we have. It literally spans over 2,100 miles. And in Montana, that trail starts or finishes, depending on Senator Heinrich's perspective, in Glacier National Park and runs 1,020 miles south along the Montana-Idaho border through much of it to end in Yellowstone National Park. The tourism and recreation economy is generated from this trail as a boon to many small towns in Montana. Shuttle services, hotels, restaurants, sporting goods stores, more and more all benefit from this Continental Divide Trail. In fact, as we look at the state of Montana, outdoor rec represents one of the state's largest economic sectors, contributing nearly $3 billion to the economy, 27,000 jobs, and accounts for 4.4% of our state's GDP. Our national parks, our forests, our trails all help contribute to Montana's economy. And that's why I believe it's so important we pass this bipartisan bill to help complete the Continental Divide Trail. There are a number of gaps in Montana that require hikers to travel long distances on highways or other unsafe locations. Specifically, there's a major gap near Butte that the community has long worked to connect. This bipartisan bill will bridge these gaps by working with our local communities, expanding resources, partnerships. It will also strictly prohibit the use of eminent domain for acquisitions, ensuring that private property rights are protected as we expand public access. Before I get to questions, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a long list of supporters and letters of support, and let me just quickly rattle off a few of them. Helena Chamber of Commerce, City and County of Butte-Silverbow, Beaverhead County Commissioners, Lincoln Valley Chamber of Commerce, the Glacier County Tourism Commission, the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership, the Montana Conservation Corps, Wild Montana, and a lot more Montana national groups.
Without objection.
Now, turning to my questions. Ms. Culver, maintenance, operation, and planning for the trail is a community effort. The Forest Service and the Department of the Interior must rely on partners such as county commissions, gateway communities, as well as recreation and conservation groups such as the Montana Conservation Corps to maintain and manage the trail. The question for you is, how does the Continental Divide Trail Completion Act help promote community engagement to complete the trail?
Thank you for the question, Senator Daines. The bill creates a trail completion team and directs that team to work with other federal agencies, but also states, tribes, local governments, acequias, communities, land grant, Mercedes, as I mentioned, and the coalition that currently works on the Continental Divide Trail, other groups, as you mentioned, and volunteers. So, it really continues this spirit and commitment to collaboration and community engagement to complete the trail.
Ms. Culver, the bill allows for multiple methods to complete the trail: donations, exchanges, easements, cooperative agreements. It also strictly prohibits the use of eminent domain. I will tell you, Montanans always have a little bit of fear when somebody says, we're from D.C., we're coming out here to help you. Can you verify that if passed, this legislation would prohibit the use of eminent domain and require the Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management to seek community-supported solutions and willing agreements to complete the trail?
Senator Daines, the bill does prohibit the use of eminent domain to complete the trail, and we support the bill as it's written in that way and believe it's consistent with the administration's support of locally driven and voluntary conservation efforts.
Thanks for that very clear answer. It's appreciated. Lastly, the Mining Schools Act. Mr. McIntyre, it's my understanding that 3915, the Mining Schools Act of 2022 defines an eligible mining school as an accredited mining school in a state with a mining GDP of $2 billion or more. Would Montana Tech, there in Butte, Montana, qualify under the definition as currently written in the bill, and what other mining schools would be ineligible?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. While this program would fall under DOE's Office of Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, the department has not yet developed a full list of eligible entities based on the draft legislation, and once that is completed, we will be happy to get back to you.
Okay, and I'd appreciate once you understand that the status of Montana Tech, if you would there, Butte. Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, thank you.